Hello, hello. Welcome. Hello, Rio. Hello, Mike, Joanna, Taylor, Olivia, Laura. Oh my gosh, Casey, Meg. I am so excited. We've got Kevin on here, Haley, Bailey, Sylvia. Oh, I'm excited. Okay, so pop on, say hello. I hope everybody is having a great start to the holidays. Sorry, one second. Real life is happening over here. That's okay, sweet thing. Just grab a towel from the kitchen. Yeah. Okay. It is the holidays, so we're going to be as real with you as possible over here. There might be a couple of those moments, but I'm very excited. So today was, I'll be on my camera, but I'm eating. Yes, no. So just so you guys know, be comfortable. Comfort, I think, for today's conversation is going to be so important. I would so much rather know that you are somewhere comfortable. You've got, some beverages, you've got what you need, you've got your notes, and you are ready to be here and with us. Today's workshop was kind of, obviously, as you guys know, this was a planned membership call, and we've kind of turned it into a whole KLC moment because I started to connect the dots of what really happens. Everyone right now, we're like inundated with everybody creating their vision board. And I am obviously pro vision board. I'm not saying don't create the vision board, but how often do you sit there and wonder, why is that not happening? Or I've created all the vision boards, but they don't come into my real life. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Okay, sorry. There we go. Oh, you're good now. Okay. Let me know if there's Kevin's like direct messaging me. Okay, so as long as everyone can hear me and I don't look like a talking head. We have the vision boards and we're sitting there wondering, why isn't that happening to me? Or, what else do I have to do? And then we just start to, I'm going to use the word spiral, right? We take that and then we start spiraling. We start maybe acting out of integrity. Maybe we start like walk away from our own authenticity, our own highest self, our values, our mission, whatever it is, because we start fixating on, well, if that's how they did it, that's how I have to do it. Or we just like really step away from our truth. And at the end of the day, your goals are within you for a reason. We know that. And the quickest way to actually bring them into reality is, in my opinion, to have really strong awareness, intention, and my favorite word, responsibility. So today is going to be very different, I'm going to go ahead and say. And it's not going to be like your typical only focusing on the good. Like, I'm going to really call you guys into a lot of awareness. And to me, when I'm always asked on like podcast episodes or, when I don't know, like a client's on a call or boxering me of like, what would Candace do moment? To me, awareness has been like the game changer for my change in life. And the way that I've been able to actualize my reality that was literally once this like cool concept or cool idea. So I'm really excited to bring you through the questions that I work through on my own. I'm going to pull up some notes that I did have prepared so that I can be super intentional with your time as it is the holidays. And we have dropped a form in the chat. Can everybody just give me a thumbs up or like heart it in the chat? Make sure you've got that open. And there is a reason that we have, thank you, Olivia. There is a reason that we have this as a form, and we're going to work through it. But when you submit this form at the end of today's session, this is like your commitment. And I really thought, well, one, I was thinking of different ways that you could have this work and have access to it, but then also be able to keep coming back to it and use it as a grounding tool. And I was like, I know when you guys send this in, you're going to get a copy into your own inbox. And so working through this together, I'm going to be really live with you here. Obviously, I encourage you to, work through the questions a second time if you want. You can go through the form, like you'll now have access to the link so you can go through, ask yourself these questions again, go deeper in a journal, process it verbally, however you like to process information and kind of come to your own clarity. But I am really excited for what we are going to work through here. So let me just check over my notes. Is everybody ready for the holidays? Let us know in the chat where you are celebrating Christmas, what you are doing, where you are located. I feel like that's always really, really fun to hear for everybody. I feel like we've got a lot of Ontario friends here too today. Okay, so with that, Yes, the biggest link, right? You can have the goals, you can have your line in the sand moment. How many line in the sand moments have you had where you're like, that's it. I've decided that this is the month that XYZ happens, or this is the month that I become this. And then we sabotage or we kind of drop our personal power around it and it doesn't actualize. And then we start to lose trust in ourselves. And what I'm going to go ahead and say is like my inner voice. Like I remember being in these seasons and being like, do I even trust my goals anymore? Do I even trust what I'm being called into or what I feel drawn to next? And so without the awareness, the connection, and then the revision, it's really difficult to actually bring that vision board into your reality. So that's what we're going to do today. This will definitely be an annual event. I was kind of making sure everything was dotted and lined last night and it made me really excited. And I definitely want to make this like a more annual thing for everybody. It's definitely going to change the direction for your following 12 months. So I'm super grateful that you are here. For those of you that are watching the replay, you will get the link that we are talking about so you can actually go through the replay and have the form up in front of you, just like you are here with us. So I'm going to try and keep this as intentional as possible and keep going through it in that way as if we were live. And I'm sorry, we're having a moment. Do you want to sit with me? Okay. So that being said, everybody is sharing going ice skating today in Toronto. I was thinking about going this afternoon. I love that. My last winter here. That's right, Rio, you are relocating. Love this. 30 family members getting together for Christmas. Oh, Haley, I'm sending you so much love. Okay, so that being said, we're going to work through, get the form up, get ready, make sure you are situated. You'll be able to come back to the form, as I said, once like that you submit, you're going to be able to ground into this, ground yourself into the answers, your intention, and the awareness that you are bringing forward today on this session. Today, it's not going to be a big like question and answers day. I did want to make sure that was clear. I think I put it in the email, but I want to make sure you guys are aware. If you are part of Freedom Society, please keep using our membership channel. Please ask the questions in there. I will be active to answer those if you had ones that you specifically wanted to bring to today. But I know that we had kind of chatted about doing this earlier, and so I am excited. I would love to kick things off, okay, and ask you to just like get comfy, shake it all off. I want to know 1 to 2 feelings that you want to feel, hold, and experience in 2025 as a whole ass human. So I'm going to prompt you. You want success because you want to feel blank, right? You want wealth or a, certain number income year because you want to feel a certain feeling. What feelings are coming up for you around those? You want to have a strong body and a strong mind because you want to feel, what is it? Unstoppable, strong, capable. You want the relationship or your marriage to become the marriage or relationship of your dreams because you want to feel something. What are those feelings? And you can take a minute, financially free. Love that. Freedom. I knew I was going to hear freedom thoughts. I love this. Appreciation, excitement, abundance, joy, love, lightness, abundance. And try and take that a layer deeper. Like what else? Abundance so that you can feel what? Alive, secure, safe. Really think about it. The freedom. So you can feel what? Present, alive. There was a part of me that like always tied freedom with like my little inner rebel. Like, so I don't have to ever listen to anybody. But like figure out what that is for you. Secure, healthy, helpful, impactful, inspirational. Love those. confident and present. I'm loving this. Freedom to me means control, the ability to control, yet what my days look like, how I spend my time, the things that I get to provide for my kids and my family. I absolutely love that. 1 second. Okay. This is so good. So we're going to keep connecting to that. If you have sticky notes nearby, if you can text yourself, I want you to revisit exactly those words that are coming up for you, whether you're sharing them or not. Calmness, productive, clarity. And who will you be if you have these feelings? So if you're feeling this on the daily basis, if these become your dominant feelings, who would you be? Right? How would that change on a day to day? Financial freedom, confidence, and being seen and clarity. I love that. Okay. No, thank you, Kelly. Yeah, we'll do that after. I want you to invite this feeling in as we begin to go through a process at times this is going to challenge you. I'm going to be completely honest, but it's also going to challenge you into becoming the person that holds these feelings every day, no matter what. And you guys know I've been sharing a lot in my message lately about not wobbling. And so for most of you that are here, you know I have gone through the full life crumble and rebuild in the last few years. And one of the things that truly, I'm going to say, like, I was able to do this and really reflect on the fact that I was able to remain as secure and solid as I could. Obviously, I had my moments, not just for myself, but for my business, for my clients, and most importantly, for my children. And that's because I didn't wobble when everything else did. Right? I came back and I grounded myself into this work. And to me, building freedom is obviously going to change your life. Having the impact of your dreams is going to change your life. Having the business, having the success, having the abundance, having the financial freedom is so incredible. But I do not want you to be building that in a way that when something in your life happens, your identity, your mindset, or your business then wobble too. I want you to become the type of person, the version of you that exists, that when things happen externally out of our control or sometimes in their control, that you don't wobble from that you can let both exist. And so I'm going to kind of go into some examples as we go through this. So get your form ready. If you have your journal, get as comfy as you need or desire. Now we know that to make the change, we need to reflect. And when we reflect, we want to bring full awareness to the areas that are going to make the biggest change for us. And so that's what we're going to be doing right here. So we're going to reflect on the last 12 months. I'm going to invite you to just start thinking on the last 12 months. And you can do this through just like sitting here with us today or setting an alarm to sit with yourself later tonight. Another example, I had a client do this the other day and I said, just sit with your camera roll. Or for me, I have everything go to Google Photos. And I just like went month by month to month and was like, wow, it's so interesting. Like, who was I in that month? What was happening? What was our life like? What all was I holding? Where I could reflect back and obviously take note of what was happening and have compassion now that I'm like, again, you're a different version of yourself today than you were yesterday, but hold that compassion. Or scroll, depending on what you share, you can also use your social media for this. There's all sorts of different ways that you can start to truly reflect on the year. If you have a journal you've used this whole year, I used to love that when I would complete a journal, I'd kind of go through and skim through it, and just, check a few dates each week and really see what was real and what was alive. And I really enjoyed that. So the first question we have up here is reflection number 1. So what were the top things that you complained about in 2024 within yourself? So again, think about what your dominant thoughts were. Were you like, oh, this always happens, or I always feel so busy, or life is so overwhelming, or oh, I need to make more money. You know, what were your dominant complaints, either to yourself or to someone close to you? What did you, when you reflect back, what did you complain about to your closest friends, people, family member, spouse, partner, sister, brother? This can do with your life, family, yourself, and of course, business. But what we know is obviously when we're holding them in one area, it usually trickles into pressure or lack of clarity or confusion or lack of certainty in another. So, what thoughts appeared for you most frequently? We're not making these complaints wrong. So, if you notice that you don't want to go there or that there's like shame or judgment or like frustration coming up because you're like, oh, wow, like I'm realizing I really thought about this one thing, right? Know that one, you're human. We all have it. We're all going to be running something in here. And that you get to actually have so much compassion as we revise before you start 2025. So we're not making what you complained about wrong. We're actually bringing awareness to it and actually going to acknowledge the fact that that area or areas of your life were seeking attention to be tended to. And the only way to make change in 2025 and to have it be a different year, better year, upgraded year, simpler year, more secure year, more freedom year, whatever the word is, more confident, more clear, is to bring awareness to these things. So if you feel called, is there a character limit? I love you. Oh, there might be actually. I didn't check that, but I tried to put the biggest spot for you guys. And so again, don't worry about how you spell things. Don't worry about, I don't want nobody. I am actually excited to, before the new year, sit down and really read and like be in this with you guys. But this will not be going elsewhere. Like this is, you are going to get a copy of this. And the most important thing for me is that you are very real with yourself so that in 3 days and 3 weeks and 3 months and 3 quarters from now, you can reread it and continue to stay in that awareness. Right? I keep seeing posts. I'm just going to chat for a second while you guys sit with this, but I keep seeing posts lately about, January 1st, just like the same things we're inundated with every December and January. And I've been a mentor for a lot of years now, and I've been a part of some pretty incredible transformations. And I'd like to think that I've been through some pretty intense transformations myself. And it was never at a certain set point. It was always when I brought awareness to it and I was intentional and responsible moving forward. And that's what we're doing today. You guys already know we don't wait, right? We do things unrealistically, and this all starts today. You get to spend the holidays really marinating in this, really sitting in it, really inviting more of it in, and starting to play in this new version of you, this version of you that is more aware, more intentional, and has a plan moving forward. So I'm going to give you one more minute. Obviously, if you're watching the replay, and you guys will be getting the replay tonight, you can come back and pause, do it again. Okay, so reflection number 2. Can I actually I'm going to look through here, just see all you guys, if I can see any of you. Is everybody good to keep moving? Just give me a thumbs up, nod. Yeah, okay. When you reflect on your year, again, we're like truly sitting with this. Who led the show? So think back to last January. What were the things that you were journaling about, calling in, desiring, claiming for yourself, declaring, committing to? And this, like, some of these might feel like a gut punch. And I really want to make sure that you guys are bringing so much compassion to it and keep remembering what's on the other side of this awareness. It's like you literally don't have to keep doing that anymore. We get to become so aware. Who led the show? Your highest self or your limited self? Who held the power? Who drove the car most days? You know, where did you get distracted? So when you're filling this in, you can just do it in bullet points. You can put in a whole paragraph, however you want. Okay. Just so again, we can keep coming back and reading it. So where did you get distracted? Where did you busy yourself? Where did you leave your true authenticity, your truth? Where did you, follow influence instead of your own truth? Where did you not see it through? Where did you not prioritize what was needed to have whatever it was that you wanted last year? And that could be in any area, right? Like that we're not just making this about business. So I want you to think about your life, your relationships, your business, yourself, your family. It could be too that your year was great. Can we hear the tizzle? Sorry, guys. So sorry. We have a visitor and she's going to stay with us now. Okay. So with that, I want you to think about all of it. Every area. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, guys. Dad dropped them off this morning. And so it was a little bit of a, we're figuring it out. Okay. So with that, again, you are holding yourself with compassion. There's no shame. It's like, oh, it's so interesting. I was so frustrated because I wasn't getting this result. And now I acknowledge the fact that I wasn't seeing through this piece of my strategy, or I wasn't clearly communicating with my partner. I was holding it in a lot, or I was saying no when I wanted to say yes. I was saying yes when I wanted to say no. Like it's any piece of it that you can notice where and who led the show most days, or who drove the car, whatever. Find something that you resonate with. But when I reflect back on these areas of my life, maybe it's specific, maybe you'll notice like, okay, so even for me, I noticed like, okay, I'm driving the car here, here, here. And then I'm like a newbie learning how to date or like experience the dating world, right? So I'm like learning to drive the car there. So just like to let you in and like share with you the realness of like, maybe you're going to start to notice at certain areas. Maybe this will really like take you places, but really take note of that. Okay. Oh my gosh. So one of the things I want to share here too that I noticed when I'm going to go ahead and say, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, when I was like, well, wait a minute, like I really want a lot more than I have. But then the world shut down. And then I was homeschooling. And then we were traveling as a family. There was so much happening. And I changed any but and turned it into an and. And honestly, if you're with us for any part of today and you're like in a season of an up level, or maybe you're going into a season where you're going to be holding a little bit more, or things are changing for you, writing that down alone, every but becomes an and. That was huge for me. I get to homeschool my children and be in control of their educational experience and their environment. And I still get to run the business, and I still get to travel, and I still get to take care of myself, and I get to invest where I need to so that I'm supported, I'm resourced, that I can see things differently. And I get to, you know what I mean? So really going any but that you're noticing come up and changing that to an and. And I'd be very curious if like, as you sit through that, even just over the next few weeks, really take note, because you'll start to notice it in real life, right? Now that you have the awareness of like, oh, I just like threw a button there and made that mean something, and turning that into an and I get to still have the business. I get to be going through this situation in my life and still show up on social media and find ways that I feel aligned with showing up. Okay. So we will move to number 3. As we reflect, what limiting beliefs are you noticing that you unconsciously carried that you are ready to rewrite for 2025? So when you think about what you complained about, what was often like really relevant for you, very real for you, when you think about the things that didn't actualize that you really wanted, or where you're recognizing that limitation was running the show for you. And honestly, if I was doing this, I would just be bullet pointing them, just so you can see them, because we want to start to rewrite them. Okay, so just really take note. The thought exactly as you thought it. Any of the ands and the buts. If anybody feels called to share anything, like any ahas that you're having right now, we're going to check in a couple minutes, but feel free to use the chat. I'm so curious. Oh, and thank you too. We love the company. Yes. Love. I'm going to give you another minute and then we're going to kind of go into some fun reframing. Oh, Rio just shared. Most of my complaints have actually resolved. Just noticed that. I love that. That must feel so good too. So do you notice the shift, like how you're feeling knowing that these things have resolved, been cleared, aren't a part of your reality or thoughts? I don't even think too so much too, if you guys are getting kind of caught in that or overthinking it, I just want to share too. It's not even so much about like focusing on the complaints. It's more so what were the thoughts, right? Like what did you focus on when you went to talk about things, when there was something that felt like it wasn't going right, when you noticed that you had moments of frustration, like where were you leading your thoughts from? How were you thinking? What were the beliefs? What were the thoughts? So now we're going to take a look at the list. Like, wish I could be in this with all of you, like see what's coming up and be in it with you. But we're going to look at the list. And this is where I want to invite you to be super, there we go, just change my setting. Super involved in the chat. Obviously, you don't have to air it all to us, but I feel like a lot of you are familiar with each other too that are live, which is wonderful. And those of you that aren't and you're watching the replay, I mean, get acquainted, come join us. But I list out any that you notice were the most dominant. Let's start there. Or any that you struggle to see differently, or that you just like having it workshopped and getting into a different energy around it would really help. Okay, so I really want to invite some like playfulness here, curiosity, intrigue. So turning our butts into ands, and let's start with that. So, well, I know I want to have a 300K year. Let's say that. Okay, I think that was the example I put on the form. Yes. So I desire to have a 300K year, and I get to do it while being a hands-on mother instead of, but I also need to be realistic that I'm a mother, or well, I have big goals, but like my kids also need me. Awesome. I get to have big goals and I get to show my kids how to accomplish those, how to be someone that holds it all, how to be someone who, shows up for themselves. Or I insert blank. I really want to play with your real life examples. I feel like that's where it's the most supportive for everybody. I am a completely different version of me now. Rio, I love this so much. Your transformation in the last, like, what is it, 10 months that you've been in this space has been so incredible. Me too. I had a huge reflection point on the solstice that my belief I'm all on my own. Stress of not having any support is no longer my reality. Yes, I get to receive collaboration support. Always, always, always. Love that. Struggling to balance holding boundaries with in-laws, my parents, and their expectations, while still being respectful. I definitely carry limiting beliefs about how I have to get out of my way, go out of my way, sorry, for other people, even if that means doing something I don't want to do doesn't serve me. I'm terrified of being seen as selfish. Oh, Casey, I so feel this. There was like, before I became known as the boundaries queen, that was really big. I think too, writing out and becoming aware of all the expectations that you feel from others, and then really being real with yourself of like, okay, well, are these, I'm known for putting expectations on myself. That was my pattern in the past. And I remember at one point writing them all out and getting clear on, are these mine or are these someone else's? And then being able to just have that awareness of where those expectations are coming from too, and having compassion for it really helped me with my relationship with my mother specifically, and my mother-in-law at the time. But I think too, the more we continue to reframe what it means for you to say yes and say no when it works for you and for your family, the more we can remember what that does for everybody, right? And the ways that that then overflows into everybody. So it's like I get to be loved by my family and still say no sometimes. I get to hold boundaries and be the one that goes first and teaches my family about how they could do that for themselves and shows them. I've been working on guiding women towards becoming pregnant, and I aim to experience this along with them and directly yes, instead of but I am not even able to accomplish it myself due to our own person. Yes, look at that reframe. Oh, Olivia, that is yes. And I feel like that really goes along with what we chatted about on our last call too, of like, where can we like to me, and I'm sure you guys can nod your head and agree, like authenticity can be so healing, so healing. And to just like be, especially you're gonna notice like going into 2025, in 2026, like that comfort style of creation and just like the authenticity that people are bringing to what we create going forward is going to be so important. It's going to have so much value for everybody. And getting to know that it all gets to exist is so freeing. So freeing from those beliefs. I get to earn more money than I need without pushing. Mike, look at this. And can let go of fear and stay in the energy of knowing that everything is working out for me. I absolutely love this. Of course. Okay. Anybody have anything else they want to share? Okay, we're going to go into celebrating. When you think about too, I just feel like I want to share this. When you think about your next level self, this next version of you, right? The version of you that is so authentic about what you know you want and who you know you want to be, how you know you want to accomplish all of this. I'm so sorry. 1 second. Yes, I may. I was trying to get her to say Merry Christmas, but she doesn't want to, so that's okay. Okay, so when you think about that version of you and you think about, okay, I am so clear now on this is how I want to show up. This is who I want to be in the world. This is how I want to feel. These are the feelings I feel dominantly in every area of my life, right? This doesn't wobble. When you think of all of those things, it's so fun and becomes so playful too when you can drop yourself into, if I was clear, confident, abundant, free, financially free, secure, safe, like what would I be believing to be true? How would I be operating? What are the things that I would think on a daily basis? For me, I love literally turning it into a game, a game. And so I wanted to share that this today because heading into the holidays, like obviously we don't have a ton of time and we don't have we're all going to be somewhat busy. We are getting a copy. Yes. So this submission will go straight to your inbox. You'll get a copy of it, which is why I thought this would be such a fun way to do it. And like also you like, anyways, we're going to sit at the end when we hit submit. But you will get a copy. Yes. So when you are going through the holidays and you've got a bunch of family over or you're going here, there and everywhere, or in my case, like I'm hosting a lot and you can just instead tune into, right, this is a game and catching these as they come up, catching anything that doesn't serve who you are claiming to be moving forward, beginning to practice being in these feelings more. If this is how I felt right now, even though I'm currently feeling XYZ and acknowledging that and having the passion for that, how would I then act? What would I think? And we all already are aware enough to know like our current thought creates our next thought, which creates our next thought. And so just being able to tune into that and kind of stack that into your identity with practice, I believe can be so fun during this time. My girl's done very now. Thank you. I'll watch. Yes, of course. Everything will be going out for you tonight in the replay. Okay. So I want you now, almost as if you are that version of yourself. And so come back to those feelings that you declared at the beginning. And what are you so proud of? This can be so big and this can be so small. This could be 3 things. This could be 103 things. I know for a fact, all of you walked through something in your life, in your business, in parenthood, in your relationships that we don't know about. And what are you proud of when you reflect on who you've become, how you showed up for yourself, how you navigated things despite, our earlier reflections too? Are you proud of the fact that you let it all exist, that you continued, that you're here, that you showed up, that you continued to navigate and learn what you needed to learn, that you leaned in for support, that you had difficult conversations, you finally honored your truth, you said yes to something, you said no to something, you started creating a routine for yourself. What worked well for you, what manifested, what moments stick out for you when you even just being prompted like this. I love it to be able to tune in to notice like, oh, what are the first things? And if nothing's coming up, lean into the prompts that are below the question, right? What did you master? What did you create? What did you see through? What did you cultivate within yourself? Who did you become? Where did you show more love to yourself? So easy to forget about the little things that you just listed out. Yes. There's something so special about just like being in it and being prompted. It is, we get so caught up in our own realities. And I just think it's so powerful to actually acknowledge, what really worked well for me this year. What did I learn that worked really well for me that I want to bring into the next year? You guys know that I'm really, really big on self-recognition and how much that supports like our magnetic ownership as business owners, but also as individuals. And I feel like when you're able to truly acknowledge just the type of person you are, the fact that you are living, breathing, you hold power within you, you have this awareness, you have this consciousness, you have thoughts, you have the ability and the power to literally choose who you're going to be on a daily basis. And you get to slow down and actually recognize and stack proof for yourself. It is so supportive. So if there's any of these prompts that we're going through, again, remember you will get it'll send to you in like almost like a little chart with all of your submissions. And you can go and grab any of those prompts and do them at any given time. But let's check in a little bit before we go into some revision and kind of game planning and committing. You know, what's sticking out to you the most right now? Like, what has been your biggest aha moment? If you're watching the replay, you could just take note of it, circle back to it, right? Okay, I'm thinking this. You know, what are you feeling? What are you holding compassion and forgiveness for? What are you the most excited about? What has been the most relevant for you so far? What have you noticed when you think about, you know, where you possibly distracted yourself or left yourself due to, you know, influence, or where you know, didn't fully commit or let limitation take the wheel in certain areas? Forgiving yourself even for picking up others' projections. I know as entrepreneurs, as most black sheep, we tend to hear lots of projections from others. You know, can we forgive that and hand that back to them? What's coming up for you? So we are going to go into revising, tweaking, improving, where you want to phrase it. Okay, so as we know, there's this version of us that we're feeling pulled into. Some of you might have names or numbers for that person. You know, we've done like the 2.0 or like finding something that connects with you. Could be the way you just like say your name, the way just an energy that comes up. I've had people that like not change up their initials, but like create initials for this character. Words. Okay, when you think about the version of you that you're feeling pulled into, what do they believe to be true about themselves as a whole ass human? Okay, how do they see themselves? And so this is where you're going to start to bring what we've been doing into recognition moving forward. How do they view themselves as a business owner, as a service provider, as a mother or father, as a friend or a lover? What beliefs do they have about themselves? You know? Well, if she's confident, what does she believe to be true about herself, about her reality, about how the universe works for her, about how, you know, others see or value her? If she feels clear, how does she show up? What does she say? How does she feel? What does she think on a daily basis? If she's clear, there's no room for confusion, no room for second guessing. She's probably really strong in her leadership because she's clear. She knows, she moves. Okay. So remember, a belief is a thought that you think on repeat. So although some of these might feel very new, right? You might be like, oh, she might be thinking that, but I'm not yet. That's okay. Because with repetition, in a matter of weeks, they can become your reality. They can become your dominant thoughts. They can become the thoughts that you think on the regular basis, right? We're rewiring, retraining our mind here in a sense. So with the awareness, the repetition, and the intention. So if it helps, you can also ask yourself, if I was him or her now, what would I be thinking and how would I be acting, and turn it into a little bit of a game. So if closing your eyes help, if picturing specific situations that most, like there's going to be situations where most activate you. So there's always, I find that there's this great deal of compassion that's involved when we start to truly step from one version of us into another. And the awareness and the intention from my experience is what helps this kind of stick and repattern as your new normal. You know, it's like the saying, the dark must exist to experience the light, right? We don't need to create any stories around, you know, any moments from our past that we're not proud of, or that we're like, shoot, right? Or like judge ourselves for it or investigate it too deeply either. We can acknowledge with love, and we can choose to feel, release, and reroute. Check in with who's driving. I think it's important to note that I have a really strong belief. Obviously, I work with a lot of human beings, and so much of what we do, yes, is business strategy and marketing and sales, but it always starts with the identity. And, you know, the next version of you that you feel called into actually exists within you right now. It's not this pressure of like, I need to become her. I need to find her. I need to chase her. I need to become someone who I'm really not. It's actually recognizing that it's just like our dreams, you know? It's such a spiritual connection, really. If we didn't feel called to do the thing, it wouldn't be meant for us. But when we are, it is. It's kind of also, you guys have heard me give this example before in the vault and probably in numerous of these calls, but every single time I watch a client up level and they like either take a big leap, completely restructure their business finally after like years of avoiding it, or they are up like working on their identity and they're like, oh my gosh, like all of a sudden all these dream clients are reaching out or new opportunities. Like you guys have all had one of these moments this year, right? So when you made that moment, you were naturally a match for that experience, that new client, that situation, relationship, clarity in your business, whatever it was, simplicity, getting time freedom back. Okay. Your next level identity is waiting for you to match it with these actions, this clarity, this awareness. Okay. So when we prompt ourselves and when we are prompted, we can find the answers in self-discovery because they are all within you. So if you're struggling with any of them, don't make too much of a story about it. So before we continue, I do want you to commit to yourself right now, right? We're not putting this next version of us on some pedestal. We're not making a story that we can't have what we want until we've mastered her or him, or that there's any level of perfectionism involved in any of this. We simply have the awareness now of where our patterns kept us in the past. We get to acknowledge that, and we get to move forward with this clarity. We get to embody clarity moving forward into our actions, into our thoughts, into our beliefs. So seeing, knowing, and feeling what you do right now tells us so much about the identity we need to be embodying going forward. That new identity is already within you, but it'll present itself and flourish when you match that energy with actions. So this can take, at moments, some extreme self-leadership, extreme compassion and love for yourself, responsibility, and intention. So you've now committed to showing yourself what's possible when you allow this identity to surface. so that you can feel these feelings. So what actions will you be taking to support that? And so I'm going to prompt you, but I want you to start thinking about that version of you. So go back to the feeling. I feel like it's so supportive when we can connect with emotions. Go back to that feeling. What actions would you be taking if you felt that on a daily basis? Anything that you'd be doing differently, anything that you would be restructuring and setting up differently. So what would your day be structured like? What would you add? What would you remove? If you were feeling those feelings, would things like, do you recognize like, well, wait a minute, maybe I wouldn't be doing this or that? Would you have different boundaries? What conversations do you need to have? Is there anything that needs to be changed in order to support this? To support bringing this vision into your life? If you know that you want clarity, I'm just trying to think of words that you guys said at the beginning. Clarity and abundance. Is everything in your life set up to have that? Right? So you can think about the real life components and then think about the thoughts and actions as well. So is your business set up to support the abundance that you want? Is your mindset acting from a place of abundance, no matter what's happening in this current moment? Is your leadership from a place of abundance? Okay. If not, just take note of what needs to change. And what's really cool is we get to actually start to see our action plan for 2025. And when you notice that you start to complicate it, you can come back to what you know is actually needed. If this is the dream version of yourself that you intend to be, the feelings that you intend to embody at the end of next year. What will you do to support no longer distracting yourself? So if that was something, what types of support will you put into place for yourself? And something that I kind of sat with last week was reaffirming what you will do in order to disrupt any habits or patterns of being who you were so you can become who you're ready to become. So is there something you can commit to here where it's like, this is what I'm going to do every time I notice this one thing that I do that holds me back, right? That holds me back from feeling what I want to feel or being who I want to be or thinking the thoughts that I want to be thinking. Am I comparing myself? Okay, well, what am I going to do when I compare myself when I'm scrolling social media in a way that's not serving me and my business, my growth, or my business's growth? When I'm telling myself it's working hours, but I'm sitting on social media and then feeling frustrated because my day is at least 2 times longer than it should be. What are you going to do when you catch that? Right? How can you have compassion and disrupt the pattern? So finding something that you can commit to for yourself that you know would support feeling more of the feelings you want to be feeling. And this could be so many things: screensavers, alarms that go off intermittently throughout the day, sticky notes all over the house, writing on your mirrors. I've pretty much done every single one of them. Just finding something that really you find truly actually supports you. A screensaver right now, I have, so funny. Kevin and I were talking about this on the last podcast episode, but like my own little like manifesto written out, and I set a time to read it twice a day, and I'm like intentional. But what will you do to disrupt whatever it is? Anything, any of the gaps A great audio course to go through after today and going into the new year would definitely be the Normalizing Audio Tracks. I always have my vision board affirmations in my screensaver. Yes. Yeah, if I don't have like a manifesto, I have some sort of like visual aspect and words. I feel like words like really bring me into an emotion too. Okay. So, what words are sticking out to you? What ahas are you having? What permission do you need to send to yourself? What feelings are buzzing through your body? What do you want to remember and come back to? Okay, so this is the self check-in number 3. And what are you most excited about? Is there anything you're needing to workshop? Anything really a great place to like currently dump and like be in the feels and the energy of this? Like what words? Is it like vision, devotion, simplicity? Like what are your words? Boundaries? Well, aha. So it's like I actually get to say no to opportunities that don't light me up so I can call in more that do. Maybe I'm recognizing that I said yes to opportunities that didn't light me up all year. Therefore, I'm feeling more defeated, more exhausted, more misaligned. I want to feel more clarity. So I want to spend more time journaling. I'm realizing I can create this clarity within myself and bring myself back to a place of clarity. What has you excited? What makes you feel excited? What about abundance or financial freedom, security, peace, confidence, love makes you excited? Okay, and then we're going to move into one last one. Okay, so I want you to really start to lock in this version of you. How she walks, talks, thinks, feels, moves throughout her day. And I want you to commit to yourself. What are you going to do when you notice the old pattern surfacing? So what is your commitment to break the pattern? What are you going to do to support her? I feel like sometimes that's really helpful too. If we have a hard time looking for ways to support ourselves, how can you support her? Whether you see a younger version of yourself or you see that next version of yourself in order to support that. So an opportunity to be intentional and aware of how you want to handle yourself when this happens and what you'll do to disrupt the pattern. Nothing crazy. Could be so, so simple, but write it out for yourself. Again, remembering that this document is something that you're going to be rereading and coming back to, or you could print, there's so many things that you'll be able to do with it. Okay, so once you've written that out, you can take a break from your little upgrade plan and your form and come back to us for a moment. Okay, I'm gonna ask that you, once you are ready, do really, before you hit the submit button, once we're done here, I just have a few things that I wanna like kind of activate you with. But when you do hit the submit button, if you are done and you feel called to do so now, you can. But I want you to really close your eyes and just like picture yourself at the end of next year. I want you to truly picture like if, visions flashing before your eyes of moments of throughout next year popping up for you helps. Picture something that's going to spark an emotion for you so that you can really see yourself in every area of your life experiencing those feelings that you are ready to call in. So it's like, are you, flashes of like you're in an airport, you're at a destination, you're, on talk shows, you're on stages, you're on podcasts, you're present with your family, the screens are off, you're playing, you're adventuring, you're traveling solo. Like, what are you doing? And really coming into that before submitting. Okay. So let me see here. I had some notes for you. Yes. So some of you, sending it in might be a bit of a stretch. I did take note of this. And I want you to lean into that stretch and really view that stretch as a commitment. If doing something like this feels vulnerable, if knowing that, I will be able to read your words feels vulnerable. Something that has really supported me over the years is, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, my mentor at the time had said something that always stuck with her in her leadership was always acting as if she was in the room with me, if she was in this space with me, or if she had eyes on what I was doing. And for some reason, that really activated me, really always activated me to make the best decisions for myself, for my family. I can see them coming in for anything that I was in the midst of, and it really helped me. That was the season actually of the Soulful Rich Bitch. So if anybody has accessed that course or worked through it, it was like that time frame in my life, and that's something that still to this day sticks with me when I'm having like a difficult moment in parenthood, or if I'm feeling challenged or stretched or my capacity. And it's like, okay, well, if I'm struggling to notice how I would handle this as my next level self, like how would I handle this if I was being watched by somebody who I truly looked up to, or, like respected, or whatever works for you. So I did want to put that. But going forward, I want you to pick, obviously, we are evolving human beings. You guys are all here because you're very growth oriented. You're not just, growing yourself, you're growing a business, growing a mission, growing an impact, growing an income. I want you to think for the next 3 months, the first quarter, and I want you to pick a word or a mantra. Okay, so it's like the more I rest, the more overflow I create. Or if it's just a word that's stuck out to you from the very beginning, if it's a mantra that includes the two feelings you wanted to be experiencing for the first quarter. And then I think when I email out the replay, I'm going to send some of my playlists, but I want you to pick your theme song for this quarter. So is there a song that helps you feel like that version of you? I'd be super curious to hear your guys' songs too, by the way. So if you feel called to drop that in the submission before you do, or share it into the Telegram chat, or Instagram it to me, whatever works. But I want you to pick a theme song. And this can be a song that you play as soon as, I would love a playlist to pick from. I always struggle. Okay. And what's so funny is I always thought that my music tastes are so like extreme. Like I'm like hipster country, and then we got R&B, and like, well, you guys have heard some of my songs on Instagram. I'm not going to go ahead and say names of them at this current moment, but I will definitely send that out. Just really listening through, try not to fixate on it too. If there's not a song that comes up right now that activates you, wait, but you really want it to be a song that like truly activates you. And that's why I wouldn't commit to it for the year, but I would love to hear you commit to it for 3 months. Like as soon as you're alone in the car, maybe you listen to it. If you are struggling to like cut chords from the day, like energetic chords from the day, like maybe you put on the song, you just like jump and dance to it. If you're in your head, if you're noticing that you don't feel embodied, or you don't feel activated, or you want to get into a different energy to write content from, anything. You're emptying the dishwasher, like anything. That I think is always really supportive. And then asking yourself, I would write this down. I know we kind of went over it, but I feel like this is a really big part of the leadership side of it. What tweaks do you need to make today to your calendar to support this version of you? So, what were you in the habit of stacking your calendar with things that weren't needed? Did you struggle to see white space, so you filled it with things? Right? Did you commit to this year to be like, oh, I want to have more freedom and more time to pour into myself? But then every time that you saw white space, your nervous system freaked out. You added things that weren't needed. Okay. Did you get into that habit? So where can you, like in my calendar, we love the white space, but I also have notifications for I want to say it's 8:30. My kids are in bed sleeping by 8 p.m. every night. 8:30. So by now I have time to like orient the house, do whatever I have to do. 8:30 comes off and a notification comes up to shower, red light, and journal. And so if I did sit down to do something that my past self would have done, so like early post separation, there was like 3 months where I noticed I would disassociate at night, right? And I would like go to Netflix for something to feel something instead of pouring into me and coming into that. And those were the moments that I always felt the least amount of clarity, the least amount of like recognition and personal power, and the least certain on who I was becoming, and where I was going. And so just making any of these tweaks, do you want to have a notification that goes, that's so beautiful, Kelly, that goes off first thing in the morning that reminds you to do something? Do you want to restructure the way your weeks are going into 2025? Like right now is the time to do that. Any clients you need to move to a different date, a different time that's going to support who you know you're becoming. If your calendar, and I'm only saying this because I know this is very real for a lot of people that come into my world, if your calendar is one of the main reasons why you are still feeling the way you felt mid 2024, slow down to speed up. Okay, so just kind of take note of that, sit with it later, ask yourself how you would like it structured, what you could put in place that would really support you, and obviously who you're becoming. And then when you submit this, you're going to get your copy like I noticed. I would totally print this out. Sorry. Print this out, set alarms to read it, screenshot it, whatever works. And then I would create, if you're an audio listener, it would be really helpful, obviously, create an audio and then like listen to it, set alarms to listen to it. My morning alarm when it goes off is literally like, listen to your audio, dry brush, red light, and journal. Like it says it on my alarm. And my phone's on airplane mode, and I have made it so like I can access everything that I need right there. First thing, that's been really helpful. If you're somebody who doesn't, I know there's a fair share of people that equally don't love journaling just as much of those of us that do love it. So finding ways that you can still be doing that for yourself, if it's just the fact that you don't have time even. Like that's something that sometimes I drop the kids off at school and I re-listen to on my drive home. I want to say it's like 4.5 minutes. Okay. So using this holiday season to sink in, release, reaffirm, shed, purge, whatever is needed to reconfigure and reconfigure anything that needs to be reconfigured in your business, your systems, your delivery, and anything else that you need for your personal human. Okay. Get the necessary support needed, make your game plan, take the time to go over what is actually required of this next version of you on the day-to-day, and build for her right now. And I want you to truly be able to commit to her when you are submitting. Okay, so enjoy your holiday season. Enjoy being a human being, a woman, a man, a mother, a father, a lover, an individual in this season. You guys should be so proud of yourselves. The fact that you continue to show up, to stretch yourself, to grow, to evolve, to become clear, right? To stack that awareness. January energy will definitely be something else, but in the meantime, pour into who you're becoming now, right? Use this as your kickstart, your bump start, because change and waiting, we already know, don't coexist together. I put that on my stories yesterday and everybody ate that up. We truly can't desire to change and be waiting to do it at the same time. And I think the most important thing you can do is start with your thoughts and start with your beliefs. So I really hope that something from today really sticks with you and that it supports you. Read over your submission, multiple times if needed. Create your vision board from this place and with those feelings that we committed to in mind. These two are being silly now. Yeah. And then I want you to really just be in those feelings. Use this as a time to do that. You may be tired. You may notice a lot of yawning, increased thirst or hunger. Nourish yourselves well. pour into yourselves, have fun with this, get curious with this, get playful with this. And of course, if you need anything, I am here. I love you all. 1 second, Brayden. Does anybody have any last questions? 1 second here. Got the chat closed. That was great. I'm so glad. Okay, so you guys will get the replay tonight. I will send the form so that again you can just even go through the questions. You are so welcome. Big thank you. Merry Christmas. I hope everybody has a beautiful holiday season. You are so welcome. Okay, I'm so proud of you guys. I will talk to you soon. You will have this by tonight. Love you all. Bye.